Welcome back to another Battlefront update. January is the month of Count Dooku, and the time for that is very near, as that update is set to drop next week. But of course, while Dooku is the highlight of the January update, we can't forget about all the other smaller additions and bug fixes that should also see themselves coming along the way. Which is why I wanted to focus a video on mainly just that, as we'll soon be getting pretty much a lot of Dooku focused content, and understandably a lot of the smaller stuff will get glossed over. While we don't have of course the full details as of yet on everything that will be included in the January update, we do already know some of the things that should see their way in the update. First up, Geonosis. Despite the map coming out back in November of last year, we'll now be getting not only an arcade release, but it will also be available in two other online modes, these being Blast and Heroes vs Villains. I still don't understand why the release of Geonosis for arcade took this long to come out, but to know that we're getting Geonosis for more than one mode in January is good news no matter how you look at it. Especially when there are still complaints going around of people still not getting to play that much on Geonosis and Galactic Assault. Which of course for the time being that is still the best way to experience that map no matter what. At least until the new game mode comes out, and then we can all see Geonosis from a completely different light. As for bug fixes, which, bugs still exist in this game, but community manager Ben Walk did tease that we should be seeing several new bug fixes be arriving in the next update. First up, Kylo's Frenzy will not only see fixes to the ability itself, but as well some changes in how it will be used or affect opponents. Of course, we don't know the exact details of what DICE are planning here, but it should be stated in the patch notes as always, which are coming out next week. Along with this, Ben also made it clear that Vader's Force Choke is getting fixed, which I know that bug has been annoying people for quite some time now. And believe it or not, but the teleporting glitch will also finally cease to exist as of the next update. This is one of the bigger bug fixes that will be coming out, and I'm surprised it isn't getting more talked about, especially of how much it's been plaguing different online lobbies as of late. But then again, I'll be surprised if these three are the only bug fixes we'll be seeing in the update, and that pesky old hero clone glitch doesn't get included as well, because I still can't believe how that's a thing. Now moving on into the Titan mode / large scale game mode section of the news. And yes, even though this has nothing to do with the January update, we still got some small news regarding it. Ben Walk did admit that DICE are currently working on thinking up of a good name to use for this mode, as the mode's current codename for it, being Titan mode, doesn't sound very Star Wars-like. I believe he's also mentioned that DICE are possibly looking into calling it Galactic Dominance, or if that's just one of the potential names they've so far thought out. It's a decent name, but personally I would prefer the name Galactic Supremacy instead. That name for me just has a lot more zing to it than Galactic Dominance does. But I'm sure they won't end up disappointing with whatever they do end up going with. Regardless, if they're at the name phase, then it's clear that the mode is pretty much done, and only small tweaks are left to be made here and there. Oh, and Ben Walk also shot down someone's suggestion in calling the Titan mode as simply Conquest, which shouldn't be surprising to anyone, as if you see my video where I got pretty in-depth regarding the new game mode, then you'll understand that Titan is far more than just collecting command posts than you'd see in a standard Conquest game mode, so it really wouldn't make any sense to be calling that mode Conquest. Although I'm still crossing my fingers that the offline variant of that mode will be named Conquest, as I've mentioned in that video as well before, the offline Conquest would be far more easier to develop for offline than a full-fledged Titan mode. And from what we know as of right now, that mode is still being worked on. But when exactly does it get released? Well, that's a different story. And if anything, we'll be hearing more about that mode once Titan mode does first come out. Also, continuing on the topic of Titan mode, there still remain some questions regarding on how big the mode will actually be. And while we still don't have any official statement on this, a leak from everyone's favorite leaker, some_info, states that it'll only be a 40-player mode. And I don't have to tell anyone how disappointing that would be. As I don't know about you, but I don't think 40 players when I think about a large-scale game mode, especially given how the play area on Geonosis will be expanded for that mode. But then again, that leak isn't new and could be outdated for all we know. Just for some reason it started making the rounds online again, and it has brought people panic just a little bit. Again, best we wait and see DICE's official response for this before we can all agree on smashing that panic button. And before we end off here, I just want to make note that there will be a triple XP event over the weekend for Starfighter Assault and Hero Starfighters. Not the most popular modes in the game, but I take this as DICE's way of trying to get people to come back into these modes. As I'm not sure if you've played Starfighter Assault or Hero Starfighters recently, but their lobbies are in desperate need of more players. So there should be some good incentive of giving these two modes some added life. Finally, the Dooku community transmission is set to drop early next week, along with a community update video. We know that the update itself comes out on the 23rd. So given that information, we should expect to see the community transmission be out on Monday. It is kinda weird to see DICE waiting until the very last minute to be releasing this type of information, as before we got the Grievous and Obi-Wan community transmissions a little bit earlier. But I have to say I do like them doing this way far better, as it helps keep the hype for the new content in momentum, and that's a good thing. But that'll do it for this Battlefront update. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel to not only support it, but keep up with Star Wars news, gaming, and canon lore released every week. And consider following me on Twitter and Facebook to never miss out on the latest Star Wars related content. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.